Yeah, I think he's joining.
Sir, admit కొట్టండి సార్ నేను
Yeah, I'm doing. Hello. Welcome, sir. Good evening, JSG. How are you?
Hi, good evening. I didn't know that you need to be in jacket and tie.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to be, that's okay. It's not a mandate.
So in India there is a code that you have to put this mask. Is it required or I should be without this?
When you are in public, yes, that is required. But you are at home, I don't think so it is required.
Okay, I was just carrying it in any. I mean, just to be on the safe side.
That's okay. How was your day? JSG?
No, very interesting. We had a very good event today. Times of India has been running a campaign for the last 7-8 months.
Okay.
They are called Hyderabad Heroes to select people who have done some exemplary work in public domain, social development projects, charity.
Excellent.
And they identified 12 of them, and there was a ceremony to recognize them, award them. So I was there, I was the chief guest, and these 12 people have done amazing kind of work.
Awesome. So you traveled today?
No, it was a virtual event.
Virtual.
Don't have to go anywhere, but it took almost a couple of hours to be in that event.
I know.
And few other things as well.
So basically, JSG, so what I wanted to get out of this, I started this during this virtual, we don't have any events outside. As a passion I do. And basically I'm into IT. As a senior director, I work for the company called Signity. Hopefully, in the iTech.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
Signity has a good presence in Hyderabad as well.
Yes, it is very good organization, very niche in testing. And this is my passion. So over the years, I had good relationship with the editors, producers, and all the news channels. So I just thought I'll help the community. And
Sure.
suddenly during this virtual, I thought I'll do something. Now I thought, how can you bring something because of my contact, because of my relationship? I thought I'll bring something to the table. So that's where this is. Yeah. So Lalesh, it is 1 minute. So when you are ready, you let us know.
ఒకసారి మీరు మీకు లింక్ పంపిస్తున్నాను.
Yeah.
సార్ ది కెమెరా రొటేట్ చేయాలి. వర్టికల్ ఉంది.
JSG, can you do you are doing on a laptop or phone?
No, iPad, on an iPad.
Can you do it horizontal? You don't. Yeah, now it is perfect. So this way, yeah.
సార్ మీకు షేర్ చేస్తాను ఒకసారి.
Share the link so that I share it. Actually, it came in my mind when I saw this LRS. I thought I should do something on IT and also LRS. Then I read about you. I know that you will never deny to anyone. So I just thought I'll see.
అలాగే ఒకసారి ఫేస్బుక్ కూడా చూడండి సార్. ఫేస్బుక్ కూడా షేర్ చేయండి. మీరు ఓకే అంటే
Okay, 1 minute. Let me share to the link also. He might take. And JSG, if you have in future anything we need to do related to NRI, please remember me. If you need any help, I can do. It's all helping the community and well-being. That's all.
Sure. So you do this in English typically, or for the older audience, you do it in a mix of English and Telugu?
Actually, I do in English itself because most of them they are from India, right? Even though they are in India, if you go to regional language, they will not be able to understand. So our NRIs will be most mix of Hindi, Telugu, English. Right? So English would be a good choice. That's what I chose. And this is the first one I'm doing the government, and that too in India. My earlier shows were like Tech Village, which is a startup hub, and the second one was AITP, that is the one other organization, and the third one I did with the Sheriff Head. So Sheriff Head, the reason is during this pandemic, what are the different crimes, what are the different things happening. So he gave an update of IT initiatives and all. So, so yesterday was the. I'm also as a part of citizen advisory board in the Sheriff. So I mediate between the citizens and also the county. So I live in this county. So because I was doing this, then the sheriff offered me if you are interested to join. I said okay. If you so very less time we'll spend. But anything happens, then we
Sir, ready, sir?
ready.
Ready, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Q.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mana TV, and you are watching Insight with Praveen Puram. This is our episode 4, and today our guest is Mr. Jayesh Ranjan. There is no need to introduce Jayesh Ranjan ji. He is the IAS and also he is the principal secretary for the Industries and Commerce. And I'll just brief about JHG in a small bio, and then we'll get into the details. So, to the viewers, the expectation for this particular show is understanding the COVID initiation in the IT at Telangana, and also how to engage NRI in any of the opportunities that Telangana government. That would be the takeaway from this particular show. So coming to JSG, I need not introduce him. He is such a simple man, and I could say that when I asked him for this interview, he just said yes. So that itself says in his busy schedule, he is assigning 30 minutes of his time for us. Thank you so much, JSG. And I'll just brief about yourself, and then I'll hand it over to you. So Jayesh Ranjan is the Principal Secretary of Industries, Commerce, and Information Technology. His assignment involves developing policy frameworks, attracting new investments, identifying opportunities for utilizing IT in various government processes, and promoting digital empowerment of the citizens. His latest few assignments have been in industrial promotion sector as a commissioner and MD of the industrial department. Secretary, his past experience is also in tourism and also vice chairman of Hyderabad Urban Development Authority. He was awarded World Bank's Social Capital Visiting Scholarship in 2002 and the British government's Gurukul Chevening Scholarship in 2005, and he has done international consultancy assignments for the World Bank, UN, ESCAP, SEDU2 project of Mexico, and many others. And Jayesh Ranjan also supports many social, cultural, charitable causes, and he's on the board of advisory committees of United Way, Save a Child Heart Foundation, Young Lives India, Save the Children's Sparsh Hospice, APMAS, ML Jayasimha Sports Foundation, and so on. I will not even read more. So JSG does a lot of things, and more than all, he is a very humble and down-to-earth person to speak with, and he's very supportive. If you see his past biography, he's very supportive. Anyone who comes to him, he will ensure that you will get the solution for it. Thank you, JSG, for spending time with us, and we just to our viewers during this tough times, COVID situations. We just wanted to know more about the initiatives on the IT sector and also the other industrial aspects as well.
So, thank you very much, Praveen Garu. Good morning, good evening, viewers. As was introduced, I'm Jayesh Ranjan. I work for the government here in Telangana. I look after the subjects of information technology and industries. So, as Praveen Garu mentioned, I'll give you some insights about the COVID situation in India in general, but particularly in Telangana. And then something more about what are our plans for the IT sector, how do we want this sector to grow, and so on and so forth. So 4 or 5 points I would like to share very, very quickly. The first is that if you look at the way the infection or the disease is spreading, COVID pandemic is spreading in the country. Now, Telangana is somewhere in the middle. I can't say that we have brought it under complete control, but at the same time, this is not a place where I can say that it is completely out of control. There are a few states in the country where the situation is a bit alarming, a bit worrying. Things don't seem to be under control. But in Telangana, I can tell you with lots of authority that things are under control, but not completely gone. So, for instance, if you look at the number of new cases that are coming up in Hyderabad, this is a big success story. Unfortunately, no one is speaking about it in the press or in the media. But the reality is that if you look at, let us say, the last 20 days data, you will find something very amazing, that the number of new cases that get reported from Hyderabad city are just roughly between, let us say, 200, 250, 300. And if you look at comparable cities, let us say Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, they are many, many times more than Hyderabad. Of course, in the rural parts of Telangana, new cases are quite more. So there is a cause of concern. But to bring number of cases so low in a dense city like Hyderabad, populous city like Hyderabad, in my opinion, is a very big achievement. And the other point is that all these new cases, this 200 odd, 250 odd, that are coming every day, mostly they are confined to containment zones. And the third very remarkable thing is that our fatalities, number of people who lose their lives, of course, even one person losing his or her life is a matter of great sadness. It's an unfortunate thing. But relatively speaking, the number of fatalities in Telangana, again, if you look at last 20, 30 days data, just in single digits or 10, 11, 12. So in my opinion, we are quite all right, quite better off. The strategies that we have followed. And since I work for the IT sector here in the government, I can let all of you know that we have played a very important role. That is, the technology has played a very important role in our containment strategy. So we have a very strong contact tracing technique. We also have a very strong quarantine monitoring. And those who are in home isolation, suppose I develop some symptoms and I'm at home, so there is a app through which I get counseling, I get medical support, and also there is a way of keeping an eye on me, and so on and so forth. In fact, I can share something else with you. So many of you would know that artificial intelligence has a huge predictive possibilities. So we have been able to access a tool. Actually, this tool has been customized for Telangana. You may be knowing that there is an industry association of the IT companies in India that is called NASSCOM. So NASSCOM, a group of companies within that NASSCOM umbrella, has created this predictive analytic tool using AI. And now we are in September, let us say, in the middle of September. We have, using the predictive analytical tool, data up to the end of November on how many cases are going to come in Telangana, where are they going to come, what will be the demand on our healthcare capacity, and so on and so forth. So there's lots of forewarning, lots of information available to our decision makers, our healthcare officials, and that is very useful in doing lots of planning, etc. So some of you may not know this, but Telangana was the first state to open up. Of course, now this unlock stages are happening in the country one after the other. But in the month of May itself, from 1st May incidentally, Telangana permitted all industrial activities, all the IT offices to get back to normal. No restrictions on your working hours, no restrictions on the number of people who can be deployed in your office, night shifts, day shifts. And the reason why we were able to take such bold decisions is that we had that benefit of that tool, which had given us this alert that no new cases are going to come where our industrial parks are located, where our IT cluster is. Many of you would know that the premier IT cluster in Hyderabad is in an enclave called Cyberabad. So the predictive tool was very clear that Cyberabad will not see cases, industrial parks will not see cases. And with that confidence, we opened up all these industries and IT industry, etc. And as I said, everything was opened up in May itself, and now 3 months have gone by, and we have not seen any mass outbreak of cases in these places. So our strategy that way and the subsequent action which followed as per the strategy, they have stood the test of time. The other point which I wanted to share with you, again in response to what Praveen Garu mentioned. Now, obviously, all of you are in the US. The economy there has also been impacted by this pandemic. India is no different. Economy has been hit very, very badly. Different sectors of economy have been hit very badly. So I'll speak about 2 points now. One is that the IT sector itself. Now, if you look at the IT sector, the impact is not as much as it is there in, let us say, the hospitality sector or the automotive sector. The IT sector is relatively quite intact. In fact, by and large, we don't see too much of turmoil in the IT sector at an aggregate level. But if you do a little bit of a micro analysis, we notice two things. One is that there are within the IT sector, of course, when we use the term IT sector, we use it in a general way. But all of us know that IT mid-scale companies, small companies. And what we notice is that many of these small companies and mid-scale companies, particularly those who had clients in some of the sectors which themselves have been disrupted quite badly, there is a little bit of a question mark about their sustainability. They are unlikely to get as many projects or as many clients as they would have got in the previous years. Similarly, the size or the ticket size of their projects are going to go lower. So there is a little bit of sustainability issue, revenue streams of these small and mid-scale companies. Then there are startups. All of us know that technology startups are also very important, both in the US and in India. And there are many tech startups who are doing amazing work. But again, because of the overall disruption, some of the startups have got a bit lost in the present scenario. So government has taken a number of decisions. Now, one is that as a part of post-COVID recovery, we are very clear, this trend is very, very evident, that digitalization is going to play a very important role. Whatever sector you are in, when you are going to revive your industry or your sector, digitalization will be a very key driver, which means that lots of IT companies will get opportunities to contribute to that digitalization process. One very important decision that we have taken in Telangana is that the government itself should take the lead in digitalization process. We have so many government departments. So whichever department wants to automate its processes, do customer outreach using digital means, we will create large number of projects within the government, and these projects will be given only to exclusively to mid-scale and small companies who are located in Telangana. So government itself will create lots of business for these small companies, mid-scale companies, etc., who have been impacted. So this is one very positive thing. Another thing which we are looking at is that how do you reduce the costs of these mid-scale companies, small companies, startups. So one of the big costs is the real estate cost. So we have given them some exemptions for property tax, like for 1 year, you don't have to pay property tax, you can pay it the next year. Similarly, while most of the IT industries right now in Hyderabad, we have created small IT centers in satellite towns. So for example, we have an IT center in Warangal, one in Karimnagar, one more is coming up in Khammam, one more is coming up in Nizamabad, and maybe hopefully in 6-7 months, one more will come up in Mahbubnagar also. So at 5 satellite locations, we have created IT towers, built up space of about 25,000 to 50,000 square feet. And we have given an offer that while you are in Hyderabad, if you want to reduce some of your footprint in Hyderabad, and if you want to move to any of these tier 2 kind of IT towers, I will give that space free of cost to you. You don't have to pay anything. Obviously, in Hyderabad, as all of us know, suppose you are in the Cyberabad area, the real estate costs are quite high. So this is a very tempting offer that you reduce that footprint, go to Warangal, go to Karimnagar, go to Khammam, your cost will be zero. Similarly, we'll provide you internet and whatever manpower you require. There are colleges in these towns also. I will identify good colleges, train the staff, train the students, make them available to you to be deployed and so on and so forth. So these are some of the important decisions that we are taking to ensure that the backbone of the IT industry, see aura of Hyderabad today is because of a Google or a Microsoft or an Apple or a Facebook or an Amazon. But the reality is that it is these mid-scale companies and small companies who contribute to the bulk of the IT sector exports, the IT sector employment, and so on and so forth. So we are very conscious that as a government, we have responsibility towards these companies, and we should live up to their expectations. So these are some of the solutions that we have worked out for IT sector during this COVID scenario.
That is incredible, sir. I think two of the things which caught up my mind is on the AI, artificial intelligence, ML, and RPAs. So as you said in the government, many of the when you go for digitalization, you can definitely do some of them as a RPS. The business process can be automated. So have you ever thought of allocating some budget in 2020 or 2021 so that we can digitalize more and automated process can be implemented?
Absolutely. So we have started this exercise. Actually, has started much before this COVID pandemic hit us. So I don't know how current you are in your awareness about IT activities in the state on behalf of the government, but we have created. In fact, we are much ahead as compared to other states in our country in adopting emerging technologies. In fact, there are 8 technologies that we have identified, which includes AI, ML that you spoke about, also includes blockchain, big data, cyber security, RPA, AR, VR, digital entertainment technologies, and so on, IoT. So these are a basket of 8 technologies that we call collectively as emerging technologies. So we have done 3 things. One is that for each of these sector, there is a dedicated policy. So what does the government want to do to promote this sector? So the policy spells out all these details very, very clearly. The intent of the government is explained very clearly. Then we have created a separate emerging technology wing within the government. And we have got some very talented people to run that show. So these people who are working in the emerging technologies department, they have a very good understanding of what are the application opportunities of these technologies, which are the partners whom we need to bring in to implement these solutions. So again, there are many big companies who have developed AI practice or cybersecurity practice or blockchain practice. So we have started to partner with them. There are global companies. There are also mid-scale niche companies. So there could be a small company focused exclusively on cybersecurity. So we are partnering with them. And then there are startups. Then there are academic institutions. As you know, Hyderabad is blessed to have some of the best technology schools, etc. So they are our partners. So for each of these emerging technology area, there is an ecosystem that we have created. And the next most important thing is that this is something which other states are now emulating from Telangana. Our Telangana policy tells that if there is a homegrown company which has created a solution using an emerging technology application, and if it is of relevance to the government, then the government will procure it bilaterally. I don't have to run a tender process or a procurement process and create a competition to select the bidder. If you are a homegrown company, just offer your solution and I'll bilaterally take it. And I can let you know that almost 2 dozen plus such solutions have been rolled out in our state. When and all this precedes COVID. Of course, COVID process has actually accelerated some of our activities, and there are new opportunities which have come up. I can give you an example. So, as you would know, vaccine manufacturing is happening. Vaccine development is happening all across the globe for COVID. There's a big challenge and race going on. And I'm happy to share with you that Hyderabad is also the vaccine capital of the world. You may or may not know this, but Hyderabad manufactures 1/3 of world's vaccines. In fact, the entire Africa is supplied from Hyderabad. So that is how the vaccine progresses. And in the current scenario also, there are 6 agencies, 6 companies, biotech companies who are in the race from India. 4 of them either have their R&D or manufacturing facility in Hyderabad. So we are very confident that the new vaccine, as and when it comes, there will be a Hyderabad angle to it. But thinking ahead, what we have now started doing is developing is we want to also ensure that there is a traceability, tracking and traceability of all the vaccines. Tomorrow, no one should start selling spurious vaccines or something which is not legal, etc. So we have started developing a blockchain solution so that tomorrow when mass production of vaccine happens, we are able to secure every dose of vaccine using blockchain, so that this tracking, traceability, ensuring that there is no manipulation, so the entire distribution system becomes streamlined. So lots of amazing applications of emerging technologies are happening in our state of Telangana.
Lots of insights, sir. It is incredible that the government is doing a lot of initiatives under the leadership of KTR and KCR Garu. We always
Absolutely.
follow KTR Garu because he is a young and a dynamic minister. I really admire him. I met him in when I came to India too. And the one thing I wanted to touch upon, you said that if at all it is a homegrown product which will be adopted by the company without any tender or anything. So will that work for our NRIs? If at all our NRIs are working something, if he is not belonging to Telangana, how it works, and if he is belonging to Telangana, how it will work, and what are the
So,
connecting
yeah.
rates?
So, no, so Praveen Garu, you have raised a very good point, and I guess audience would like to understand this particular aspect.
Yes.
Now, I have three things to tell our friends from Telangana who live in the US, our NRI friends. Point number one is this. So I mentioned a while ago that we are setting up satellite IT towers in Warangal, etc., etc. Now, this decision precedes COVID. Of course, COVID has happened, unfortunately, now. But this decision of ours to create IT centers in smaller locations is a decision which has been taken almost 3 years ago, keeping NRI's interests and requirements in mind. What we learned was that Minister KTR Garu, myself, we have been traveling to the US quite frequently. We have been there in the last 5 years, at least 4 or 5 times. And every time when we come there, we meet lots of our NRI friends. Many of them have started running their own IT companies in the US. So what we found was, and as all of us know, Telangana is a new state, and there is a very strong sentiment amongst the Telugu people, particularly people of Telangana origin, to give back to the state. It's a new state. Let me become a part of the state building. And one solution which we gave to them was that, let us say you are in West Coast or Midwest or wherever you are, you have a 100-seater IT company in, let us say, in Chicago or Dallas or somewhere. So can you give 20 seats to Karimnagar or Khammam or Nizamabad or wherever you are from? If you're from Nalgonda, can you give 20 seats opportunities back to your hometown? So obviously they would say that I cannot afford a building or I cannot buy land to create a 20-seater. Can you give me ready to move in space at affordable costs? So this is what led to this decision, that I'll create space there, which I will sell practically at very, very nominal cost. And I will encourage you to bring 20 of your employees here. So in the US, you employ 80 people, but give 20 jobs. Slowly, if you find that these guys are productive, they are contributing quite a lot, shift another 10 here, another 20 here. Give back to the country and to your home state in this way. So this offer remains intact. And this offer becomes even more relevant because of some of the freebies that we are offering. So now if you take space in Karimnagar, zero rental. So in the US, I frankly don't know what the rentals are, but whatever it is, I will make it zero for you here in India. No dilution of quality. In Karimnagar also, I'll ensure that our candidates who go to your jobs are as trained, as well trained, and as knowledgeable as you would have found in let us say Dallas or San Diego or wherever. So I will take that responsibility. We have an institution in Telangana called TASK, the Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge. We will run training programs to skill them. So this is the first thing, that in the normal circumstances also you could have done that, but now that there is COVID and there is a need to save on costs, etc., please do this very, very quickly. Get in touch with me. At the end of the show, maybe I'll give you my number or tell you my mail ID. So please do that very, very quickly. The second point is that if you have a solution which you have tried out in the US, etc., which you think is very relevant for government agencies, I also meet lots of NRI colleagues who have solutions which they give to the federal government or the local government, etc., etc. So if there is something which you have developed, Now, our policy is to give it to homegrown companies. So you must immediately set up a small Indian subsidiary within Telangana, become homegrown that way, and then bring that solution in that way. So right now, unfortunately, the policy says that only homegrown companies will be given that benefit. So you may be homegrown. I mean, you may be from Telangana origin, but if your entire activity, your development center, your team, the entire process happened in the US, I won't be unfortunately able to give you that benefit. So the immediate solution is to create a subsidiary. And I can share with you, I told you that I have given more than 2 dozen plus such opportunities in the past. I have noticed that once the doors are opened in Telangana, these companies are able to secure orders in other states also and grow their businesses. We have an amazing blockchain solution. The owner of that company was telling me that after we implemented it in Telangana, he got offers from 8 other Indian states. And India, as all of us know, is a huge country, growing demand. So no harm. At least it makes lots of business sense to come here and to do these kind of things. So this was the second point for the NRI community. The last point which I would like to share with the NRI community is to also participate in post-COVID recovery of the economy in whichever voluntary, charity, philanthropic way that you can do. The economy is particularly at the bottom of the pyramid. You must have read about all these things. You must have watched it on television, how migrant workers in hundreds and thousands were kind of, I mean, there was so much of distress. They had to physically walk back to their hometowns, and lots of people's lives and livelihoods have been impacted. So whatever help you can do, there are lots of good organizations who support these bottom of the pyramid kind of people. So if you want me to connect you to them, I'll be very happy to do so. In the government, I lead an effort which is called the Telangana Social Impact Group, which is nothing but an agency to channelize philanthropy in areas which require the effort the most. One of the very important areas these days is school education. I'm sure all of you know this, that we have not been able to resume government schools, and we have also not been able to provide online classes to the government schools because there are many children, again hundreds and thousands of children. They don't have devices, or they live in a region where the connectivity is very poor. So many children run the risk of losing. We do not know till when this situation will prevail, but at least 1 year for sure, a very vital year of their education process. So if any kind of support, donation, charity that you can make, that will be grateful to you. So three key messages for NRI friends. Number one is to look at opportunities of setting up something small in these satellite IT centers. Second is, if you have something to offer, a solution, this application, a product, get in touch. We'll be very happy to onboard it, but you'll have to create an Indian subsidiary hosted in Telangana to do that. And third is to participate in any kind of philanthropic effort, which is very needed. And what is most needed right now is to help school children coming from very poor families resume their education.
Yeah, I think this is a great insight, and I think you have given all the opportunities to the NRIs where they are looking for, and definitely will be in touch for any of the help as well. So coming to the last 2 points, I'll touch upon, and then we will close the show, sir. And one is on the security. So the countries like US also are facing a lot of threats on the security, cyber security. And during this time, everyone is virtual, right? So the schools are virtual, especially on the kids who are low, they might click something unknowingly. So how these cyber crimes are happening, are any strategies around that?
Yes, Praveen Garu, you are very right that as more and more people adopt digital, people who had never had any opportunity to attend online sessions or do their activities digitally are now forced to get on digital bandwagon. And obviously, many of them are not very aware, many of them are not very educated in a digital sense. So sometimes they get a spam mail, but they will believe that they have won some lottery and they click on it, and obviously they get trapped, and we know all those stories. Another very common fraud which is happening these days is that digital payments has become quite common now, and lots of new users are getting into digital payment. So there's a particular fraud which is happening in large numbers called KYC fraud. So you'll get a message that some X company which has a digital payment solution wants to do your KYC. So tell your name, tell your phone number, tell your bank account number, and finally in that flow they ask for your password also. And you are just randomly giving answers, and you don't realize that you have passed on a very private and a very confidential information, and obviously you are scammed and you lose money. So these things have become very common. So we are starting. I mean, we have already started campaigns on awareness, on cyber security education. Similarly, with the help of NASCOM, we run a cybersecurity module for children who are now doing digital learning, because there is lots of threat, as you rightly said, that they can be misguided into some kind of websites, etc., where they should not be. So we are conscious of this fact, and we are making efforts, but obviously it has to be done at a very, very high level with lots of intensity and well targeted. And we have made a beginning, but we will be doing more of it as days go by.
Thank you. Thank you. Last other topic is on the LRS, sir. So most of the viewers have been reaching out to me how this works and how that works, if we can ask questions and all those stuff. So I thought I'll put this question to you on the LRS, but again, next way I will have a subsequent another show to detail on the LRS. So what an incredible idea the government has on the regularization of land. This also gives the details of land at one position, like US or any other country. So can you throw some light on the NRS and challenges, especially for NRIs?
See, LRS is a scheme which is basically meant for buyers. See, many people, particularly NRIs, with the interest of eventually having a footprint in their hometown or home state also, they buy some plot, but they don't know the background of the developer or the builder, and whether he has all the approvals or permissions or not. Many of the builders sometimes fail to get proper approvals, permissions. They need to be penalized, but the risk is that an innocent buyer has taken a plot not knowing what the background of that plot is. And if I put penalty on the developer and the builder, the collateral damage happens on the buyer, which is unfortunate. The buyer has done it in good faith, good judgment, and unfortunately, property transactions, etc., don't have that kind of transparency which you are used to in the West or in the US for that matter. So, in good faith, you go ahead and invest, and then you realize this is some disputed layout, there is some shortfall, approvals did not come, and they will not get power supply, they will not get water supply, and you feel so helpless. You have invested, but now you are told that everything will be irregular, nothing will be approved. So this is a very good solution, but there are certain caveats and there are certain conditions. So government has very recently issued a clarificatory GO just about 3-4 days ago. I would request people to look it up on the net, which gives lots of FAQs kind of answers on which kind of layouts will be approved, what is the last date of filing your approval application, what is the fees. I'm again happy to share with you that on public demand, the fees has been reduced quite drastically. When LRS scheme was introduced earlier, there was a risk that the fees will be a big deterrent. People will not come forward because you have to pay quite a lot. But now the government has taken a very wise decision that the fees will be linked to what were the registration prices when the layout was first developed. So fortunately, it has been made very user friendly, and I would request people who have bought plots in these kind of layouts to kind of compel the developer to apply under LRS, get the regularization, and government will be able to thereafter give all approvals, permissions. You'll get water connection, you'll get electricity, you will be able to register that plot in your name. You can sell it tomorrow, you can mortgage it. It becomes a regular kind of property transaction. So please make use of this window which has been opened very wisely by the government here.
Thank you so much, Jagdish Garu, for your insight. And I would like to say thank you again for this show and your time, 30 minutes. Definitely, we will continue to have some more time, some other upcoming topics where it will be useful for the NRI. And any final message you want to give to the community before we close?
The final message is just to let you know my mail ID, so that if you want to get in touch with me, please feel free to do so. The mail ID, I'll speak slowly. The mail ID is like this: SECY, SECY. This is the abbreviation for secretary. SECY underscore ITC, Information Technology Communications. SECY underscore ITC at telangana.gov.in. SECY underscore ITC at telangana.gov.in. And I'll be very happy to, if you have any questions or any clarifications, or if you want to share anything or give any feedback, I'll be very happy to engage with you online, and hope there'll be another occasion when we'll interact face to face, Praveen. Very nice answering your questions and sharing some details about the work we do here in Telangana.
Thank you so much and have a great day. Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.